appreciate what you're sharing tonight, Russ.
Mm.
I was really inspired when I saw your name underneath on the wall at the clinic teaching this, and I'm like, man, I really want to have a chat with Russ and get his thoughts and pick his brain on the hand game because I always found it's fascinating and it's fun and it's. I heard that in the old days they didn't use drums. They just had a big some logs on the ground
Yep.
and that the name of the game was called the stick game because people would get
Yep.
a stick to tap on the log in front of them.
So in the ways that I've seen, it'll be like a log cut in half, and then the log one side will be in front of one team, and the
Yeah.
other side in another team. And like Lindsay's saying, like a long stick, probably a meter, however long, and sometimes those are painted. And yeah, just tapping those on that stick, and a different sound, like a really rhythmic, hypnotic, almost kind of sound to it. And yeah, good point.
Yeah. What are your I came across one of my nation members, Lyndon Scott. I was scrolling around and found that he created this Facebook page about the healing songs of Stick Cane, and and um, and a ton of people, like thousands of people, have joined up and they're sharing songs from their local territory that are usually maybe family songs or community songs or songs that their grandfather made when they're doing the stick game. And so people just post their little videos on it, and it's beautiful. It's amazing. And I just I wanted to chat with you about that. What are your thoughts on all these songs, and how can people start to connect with the songs?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think a lot of the things in our cultures, like you said, families have songs that have originated with them. People have gone on um, like overnights or fasting and have come back with certain songs, depending in what area. Um, and there have been songs that, like you're saying again, that sound really good that I want to sing. And it goes for round dance as well. Like I've looked online on YouTube, just click on one thing and a bunch of other videos pop up. And one round dance song came on, and I actually messaged the person singing it saying, would I be able to learn from this video? And they never responded to me. But I talked to some other people and say, yeah, just learn it. Like they're so I think it's a balance of those things. I think some of those songs are definitely ones that you need to go and ask about if you have that opportunity and say, yeah, that's interesting. I love that sound. And then I think, yeah, other people are like, yeah, it's for the game. It's for
Yeah,
all that stuff, like Giver. So
yeah,
I always try and teach that even when you're going for a walk, if you see a leaf or if you see a rock, like I think people just pick flowers and stuff. And I have different feelings around that. Not that my opinion matters than anyone else's. But again, learning from elders saying, well, why do you need to pick that flower? Like it's doing its thing. Why can't you
mhm,
take a mental snapshot or a photo? But if you do offer tobacco, say a little prayer for that thing you're taking. So again, that exchange happens. And I do a really poor analogy that you can't go into a store and just take a bag of chips and walk out. There has to be an exchange. And the
mhm.
same thing with nature. We got to continue to value those things. And yeah.
Yeah, there's lots to talk about in terms of the possibilities of being well and how this brings a connection and the nature of what you learn in the hand game, like with all the drumming and sound, well, like the meditation and the mindfulness that you got to have to like to know what's going on and to make your choices and right, just
Yeah.
feels yeah,
And there's one thing that certain experienced players, and I mainly see elders do it, I've seen younger people as well. But when they go to guess for where the bones are, they'll go like, they won't actually shoot
yeah,
because if you do this and the person opens their hands, they got to leave their hands open.
yeah,
they've done that, and people have opened their hands and they're like, oh, and then the elder shoots the correct way or
That's
guesses.
awesome. I was wondering. So you said you make the stick game. I'm wondering if we can order some from you. Do you have
Oh,
any time for that in your life?
well, I just accepted a new Monday to Friday job, and I think I could square away some time on a Saturday.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's the other thing with like I said, I do drum making and all these different things. Um, some of them are kind of tedious, like the hand game stuff. Um, but it's also like meditative, like has been
yeah.
discussed. So when I'm doing that, I'm thinking of those good stories and kind of stuff I don't think about at other times. Um, yeah, yeah, I would be more than happy to.
How long does
to
it take for you to make a set?
so I usually try and ask about colors,
Yeah,
kind of like what I brought up, like certain families have colors or people, yeah. So just like a color scheme if there's a design. Um, so I could even like, yeah, send you the ones that I've made.
cool.
Um,
We
yeah,
have
so
a
one set would be one design, the other set would be a different, and then that one stick will have both. So,
we have a color design for this broadcast, as well as a
oh,
color
okay.
design for the the research project that this initiative is based
Nice.
under, and um,
Nice.
it's got red ochre and blue. Anyway, we'll show you, and the the emblem for the this project is sort of is held within this Indigenous primary healthcare and policy research network, and we've taken on the concept of a butterfly as a way of exchanging
Nice.
knowledge. Traditionally, the butterfly on the teepee, well, the Blackfoot teepee was a space where knowledge came into our world, into our lives, and the elders used to always talk about when I would see them as a doctor. They said, "Oh, the butterflies have flown away," kind of like a meaning they weren't sleeping well, they didn't feel connected, and all that kind of stuff. And so the idea of the butterfly was, how do we engage with knowledge and share knowledge and connect with each other in knowledge that helps us to be well, from a healthcare perspective. So this project is based within that, and so we have a few colors, and we have a sort of a concept that we base this all around, and this podcast is based in that, right? It's like, how can we share awesome knowledge and help each other to connect and be well? And if we get a little bit of knowledge out there and people say, man, I really want to try that.
Mm,
Hand game was one of the things that I was seeing as like something we could do, or at least if you go to a powwow, maybe you'll like, hey, I kind of get an idea now, and
yeah,
I won't stand like a wallflower as much. Maybe I'll see if I can get to meet some people and join in one day. I mean, that's the idea here, is how do we like get people to connect? Um, uh,
beautiful. Yeah.
yeah. So
And just to FYI, like a lot of hand game sticks will have again those designs, but they're usually like stickers that are kind of the way I make mine, just to differentiate a little bit, is I'll use wood. So usually it's either dowling, or if I can get straight enough pieces of willow, which is
yeah,
pretty rare. But I'll paint like the designs on each stick, and then I'll
yeah.
clear coat them and kind of have them in that way. Just so if you order a set and they're not the kind you're thinking of, you can't be like, "Hey, you didn't tell us."
How many
Yeah,
sticks do you in your sets? Five and five,
uh, 11. Yeah, so
11
five and five, and then the kick
in the
stick,
kick. Yeah.
and then the
Okay.
two sets of bones.
Yeah. I was wondering. I haven't really seen the Satina, but they're a Dene background. Do they do the same type of hand game as the Dene up north, or are they more plain style?
I actually haven't been to
Mm,
any of their tournaments. I would assume
yeah.
so, but then again, just because this is more south, like I
Yeah.
kind of maybe they might do both, or
I've seen
yeah,
some videos of the Dene style. You got to have good knees for that one, hey? Holy smokes, they're just bouncing off their knees.
yeah, yeah. Just they're in it. And
Yeah.
then I guess just to share, since we're on the topic of hand games, some tournaments it transitioned from that mainly joyful, bringing back good spirit and laughter to competition.
Yeah.
So some tournaments, first prize would be $50,000. So that would be teams with an entry fee of maybe 500. So each of your teammates puts in 100, um, and then the tournament itself will have money. So the prizes will be like either jackets with like the hand game tournament on them, plus money, and bags, and maybe some money, and then I don't know, for third place, maybe some socks and a snag and blanket or something like that. Sorry, I don't know if I can talk R-rated. Um, but up north for Dene's style, again from Peter Daniels, he said $100,000 is their first
Holy
prize,
smokes.
and I thought it would be less because I don't know where they're getting that money from. But I guess that's just one of their big things is that kind of game. So
Well,
yeah, it's fun, but yeah,
I
and
don't know.
then
We got to have ways of sharing resources, right? And if it's through the hand game, then so be
yeah,
it. It's good, right?
yeah,
That's awesome. Um, that's major dollars. But
yeah, yeah. That's
well,
going
maybe we
south.
all have to switch careers, hey?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was just
right.
gonna say. Well, um, I think we've covered everything if we want to wrap it up here. Is there
Yeah,
any other questions you wanted to ask, Lindsay?
yeah. I just wanted to hand it over to Russ to just if you want to share anything about any points that you figured you missed, or I know this episode is based on how COVID was for you and what you did to be well with it. And
Yeah.
I know we jumped right into the hand game. I'm wondering if there's any message or any comments that you wanted to contextualize what it was like for you and
Okay.
give us your thoughts. I know that we kind of jumped into that before we even recorded, but I'll just hand it over to you for all of that if you feel comfortable sharing.
Okay. Um, yeah. So when COVID hit, I actually again I just was in a major car accident, so it was kind of twofold for me. Um, very difficult. Wasn't able to sleep. Migraines were at a 10 majority of the week for a while, and then lessened over time. Had an amazing doctor that helped me through some stuff, and yeah, really helped out. That was awesome. Got me
That was
to.
Dr. Tapper.
There were two doctors. There were two doctors. That might have been one of them on this podcast.
Oh,
Um, but yeah, it was really tough. So to eventually be able to come back to hand games and traditional games and see people appreciate and learn and take good feeling from that, that really helped my spirit and my mental health. And I think that's why I was here. Elders have said when you're born into this world, you have a role that you need to figure out that's meant for you. Maybe more than one for certain people. But definitely my role, I think, has been a Wascopio, a helper. So to be able to fulfill that role again, even though I was in pain and things along those lines, yeah, that really helps. So I think with anyone, pandemic or not, feeling connected and feeling valued and included, those things really helped out a lot. So that's one thing I hope for everyone else at any point in life. I think if you feel like you have somebody that cares that you're there or you feel valued, that's something you can cling on to. Everything else might be falling apart, but at least you might have that feeling of those things. So yeah.
thanks, Russ. I'm going to hand it back over to Bridget to give our official closing. And then,
All right. Well, thank you, Russ, for joining us to talk about the hand game. I really appreciate you coming on and taking your time to talk with Lindsay and I. So if anybody wants to connect with us further about this topic, you can feel free to join us or reach out to us on our social media, which we will link beside somewhere around here.
Yeah, right
You'll
there. Yeah.
somewhere. You can reach out to us there. We have an email as well that you can reach out to us on as well. We're looking forward to touching base with Lindsay for his take on the primary care perspective on traditional and cultural games and their potential to enhance wellness. So if you're interested in that episode, please join us for the next one. Thanks again, Russ. I really appreciate you coming on here. I think this is a great chat. And yeah, thanks again.
You're welcome, and thank you for all that you two are doing.
Thank you, Russ.